Yeah. Naduni? Naduni, good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Shall we wait for another 2-3 minutes? So,
Yeah, madam. So, is it okay?
yeah, okay.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Excuse me, madam. Sorry for the disturbance. We can start the session, madam.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, madam.
How many are connected? 7, right? Okay. We'll start on bid evaluation. Okay. In the process of bid evaluation, it is important to keep the process confidential. If you look at the bidding document itself, it is said that the process should be confidential, shall not be disclosed to bidders or any other persons not officially concerned with the bidding process. So try to avoid any discussions with others while you are doing the evaluation, those who carry out technical evaluations. Before informing to the contract award to all the bidders, right? And any attempt by a bidder to influence the employer may result the rejection of the bid. The bidders cannot influence the employer. It might result rejecting the bid. However, if bidder has any concern, he can communicate that in writing to the employer. So that is how it is given in the contract, because it is important to keep it confidential while the evaluation process is being carried out. Then clarification of bids. What does that mean? While evaluation process is going on, if the evaluation committee requires further information, they may ask the bidder submit further information, right? But you have to keep it in mind, the employer's request for clarification and the response, the employer's request for clarification and the response shall be in writing. So you cannot ask verbally any clarifications. No change in the prices or substance of the bid shall be sought, offered, or permitted. So you have to be very careful that there cannot be any change to the price or substance of the bid by asking that question, except to confirm the correction of arithmetical errors discovered by the employer. So you have to be careful if you ask any question from the bidder during evaluation, it should not lead to any change to the price or substance of the bid, right? If a bidder does not provide clarification, the bid may be rejected, right? So the employer has the right to reject the bid if the clarifications are not answered. So my advice is, try to avoid clarification unless otherwise it is really, really necessary. Because by asking clarifications, you may lead to some issues. I think I discussed the other day. And also it takes time to complete the evaluation process. I think we discussed this total process of how evaluation will be carried out. We discussed the other day. So I will not go into details today. Yeah. We discussed the prior to detailed evaluation of bids, the employer will determine whether each bid meets the eligibility criteria properly signed, accompanied by the required securities, substantially responsive to the required bidding documents. We discussed the other day. So any bid without a substantial deviation or reservation will be considered as substantially responsive bid, right? The bids which are not substantially responsive will be rejected and may not subsequently be made responsive by correction or withdrawal of the non-conforming deviations or reservation. You cannot change the bid subsequently after deadline for bid submission, right? We discussed critical departures and non-critical departures the other day. We discussed reservations, deviations, and omissions also the other day. Common deviations also we discussed the other day. Right? Any questions for deciding on whether the bid is substantially responsive? If you have any question. No questions? Okay. I have a case study here. There are 6 bidders. Bidder A failed to sign each page as required. Bidder B is okay. Bidder C is, the warranty is only 12 months versus 24 months. Bidder D is technical portion in French but not in English. Bidder E is okay. F is no bid security. If you are in the evaluation committee, how do you address these deviations? Can anyone tell me if it is? Can you tell me A failed to sign each page as required? In the bidding document, the bidder is supposed to sign the form of bid, and also bidder is supposed to initial all the pages. But this particular bidder didn't initial all the pages. Is it acceptable or not acceptable? Major deviation or minor deviation?
It's minor deviation.
It is considered as minor deviation. What is the opinion of the others?
It's a minor deviation.
Yeah, can you tell me why it is considered as minor deviation?
It does not affect the scope of the work.
Then why? Okay, why it is required to be initial? That is the purpose of initialing all the pages.
This is for ensure the contractor will read and follow the documents or something like that.
Okay, any other reason?
The true document has reached to the procurement to ensure that the correct document has been reached.
To
To make sure that there are no changes after submission
No,
of
yes, nobody can change the document.
Yeah, nobody can insert pages or basically change the pages subsequently, right? So the risk is with whom? By submit without signing. The risk is with the bidder. It will not affect the employer. And the bidder has, if the bidder didn't sign the form of bid, then there is no offer and you will reject the bid. But here the form of bid is signed, but not initial all the pages. C. Warranty is 12 months versus 24 months as required by the bidding document.
major deviation.
Different opinion?
It's a major deviation.
Why?
It affects the client if there is no warranty.
This is related to financial responsibility.
Okay. Why do you ask for a warranty? What is the requirement of a warranty? Who issues the warranty? Who
Manufacturer.
Manufacturer. So if you are fixing a elevator in a works contract, you need a warranty from the manufacturer. Okay. What does that mean? What does manufacturer agrees?
He is responsible for making any corrections for any defect.
Okay. If there is any defect, either he will attend to the defect or he will recall and fix a new equipment. So that is the purpose of asking for a warranty, right? Now here it says instead of 12 months, 24 months, his warranty is only given for 12 months. Now, if that particular product is half the cost of the normal price, will you agree to go for that? You can buy two from that product for the price quoted by the others. If such a situation, do you?
No, madam. If such a situation, it can come maybe after 12 months, the product what we purchase, it can be the price will be double.
Then you can buy another one at the same price.
No, we cannot ensure, no? The next year, the same lift, it will bring it same price.
Okay. And also, as I think I discussed the other day, when you are, I can't remember whether I told you all or someone else, when you are asking for warranty, you have to be careful and you include the warranty period as what is in the market. Good example is computers and UPS. Computers, you can ask for three years. UPS, if you ask for 3 years, some suppliers might say they have 3-year warranty, whereas it will give problems subsequently. So, because nobody will manufacture a special UPS for you, which can give 3-year warranty. So depending on the market availability in the market, you write your warranty requirement rather than just saying, no, we need 2 years, so we'll put 2 years. Don't write in that way, right? Technical portion in French, not in English as required. What do you do?
It's a major deviation.
Different opinion? Why can't you get it translated into English?
Translation will be under employer risk, no?
Why? What is the risk there? Is it a risk or it's a expenditure?
Also expenditure, but the translation, we cannot ensure the 100%, no, madam.
Translated by
When
whom?
we are doing our...
Why? Why do you say 100%?
Otherwise, if you go official translation, it will be another additional cost for us.
Yeah, if you go, you have to go to official translator, of course, and it will be an additional cost. Yes, if it is
So
an
we can
additional,
load the cost.
if it is an
So
additional
if,
cost, you may add that to the bidder's price and see whether that's still the lowest, right? And you may do it, or if you are finding difficult to find a translator, you may reject the bid. So it's a debatable question whether to accept or not. And what I want to highlight here is when you are writing the report, whether you accept any change or deviation, or whether you reject any deviation, write it very clearly the reason for rejection or reason for acceptance. That is very much important. Write it in the technical evaluation report. If there is a difference in opinion, that again you write it in the document and the majority will prevail, right? So what is important is that argument should go to the evaluation report. Okay? Why you did not accept or why you did not reject. Okay? No bid security. The last one, F.
Major deviation.
It's a major deviation because bid should be properly secured.
but if there is no bid security, madam, the bid, the initial review, it will be rejected, no? It will not go for any other. The first stage, it will be rejected.
What do you mean by initial? Initial.
At the preliminary.
Yeah, all
Preliminary
these are
review.
preliminary, right? All these are preliminary stage. Before considering for detailed evaluation. Okay? Before considering for detailed evaluation, to check whether the bid is substantially responsive. Okay? And remember, if the bid security is not submitted, the bid opening committee cannot reject the bid. It's not the duty of the bid opening committee. Even it is somewhat obvious, it is not the duty of the bid opening committee. The bid opening committee doesn't have any authority other than opening the bids and reading the prices and the availability of the bid security. And if any bidder has any concern or any question raised, the answer given has to be recorded. That's all. And late bids, the only decision is not to accept late bids. Okay. Yeah. This is case 2. For a construction of a building estimated 750 million, procuring entity invited bids and 30 bidders have purchased the bidding document. Due to certain clarification at the pre-bid conference, an addendum was issued and the bid submission deadline was extended by 5 days. This addendum was issued to all the bidders in writing, registered post, and all the bidders were requested to acknowledge the receipt of the addendum. Right? Now, what is said here is the procuring entity has issued an addendum extending the bid submission up to May 2nd with some changes. An addendum was issued to all the bidders in writing, registered post, basically the correct procedure as stipulated in the instructions to bidders. You have to make sure addendum is issued, received by all the parties, and if they do not have sufficient time to incorporate that change in their bids to before the deadline, you have to extend the deadline for bid submission. So all that done at the first instance. On April 29th, May 2nd is the closing date. April 29th, due to change of design, the procuring entity wanted to issue a second addendum. Without following the procedure used in issuing addendum 1, due to lack of time, this addendum was only emailed to all the bidders by the procuring entity. No acknowledgement was requested. Right? During the evaluation of bids, it was noted that 9 bidders have included contents of addendum 2 in pricing. No evidence available whether other 4 bidders have considered the content of addendum 2 or not. And there were no evidence to prove those 4 bidders did receive the addendum. The addendum 2 was mainly on changing certain dimensions, changing the thickness of the glass panes of window sashes. It was originally 8 millimeters. Now it is changed to 12 millimeters. The effect of addendum is 32 million. The bid price was 750 million. Due to this issue, the TEC has eliminated all the items related to addendum 2 from all the bidders and recommended the lowest evaluated bidder for the award of contract. The TEC argued that by doing all the bids were considered on equal platform as required by the guideline. Did you get the question? Addendum 1 was issued with the correct procedure. Addendum 2 was not. And after opening the bids, it was not clear, or it was not shown that 4 bidders, whether they considered the addendum 2 or not. What do you do now? How do you carry out the evaluation? Any answer?
PC's decision is incorrect.
What is the mistake done by the procuring entity here?
They are failed to confirm the second addendum.
Yes. So what do you do during evaluation? How to proceed?
As which is already given or informed in the BOQ, that should be considered and loaded the price.
I didn't get you. Loaded in the sense? Now
No.
9 out of 13 has shown that they have considered the second addendum.
Yeah.
So 4, it is not clear whether they considered or not.
Yeah.
To make the question easy, this is an actual case, right? What they have done is they have changed the thickness and issued the entire BOQ page for that. So 9 use that page. 4 bids use the same page without showing the change, 8 millimeters to 12 millimeters. They just price. The TEC suggested to not to consider those items for evaluation and award the contract. So for evaluation purpose, those items will not be considered. In other words, those items will not be compared.
In the actual situation, the selected lowest would not be the actual lowest.
Yes.
Therefore, TC's decision is incorrect.
Decision is incorrect, is it?
Yes, because they have not considered all the items in the BOQ in the equation.
And also if you do so, if you do the evaluation without considering those items, and when you award the contract, definitely you will have to award the contract with those items at the price they quoted, right? And it is not clear whether they quoted for 12 millimeter thickness or 8 millimeter thickness. So definitely, if that 4 bidders, one of those 4 bidders is the lowest, then they will come back and say, my price is based on 8 millimeter. So definitely, you will have to go for variation. So there is an uncertainty there. So therefore, this awarding to the lowest among the other items is not a proper answer. So then what's the answer?
Recalling bids.
Canceling the process, right?
Yes, and recalling.
Yeah. What is the mistake there? What is the lesson learned from this? That is the most important thing. Where is the mistake?
In the pre-bid meeting, each and every item should be noted down, and to make sure that all the decisions should be delivered to the each and every bidder.
What do you mean by pre-bid meeting?
Bidders can ask questions regarding
Yeah.
the
But then what is
document.
the relevance to this addendum and the pre-bid meeting?
Some addendums can be created based on the
Yeah.
pre-bid meeting.
Yes, but then here what's the issue actually? Actual issue of the addendum is what?
Not properly delivered to the each and every bidder.
Bidders. Not only properly delivered, but also there were no sufficient time for the bidder to include that change in his bid price, right? So the lesson learned here is, one is, if you want to issue an addendum, make sure that addendum is received by them and they acknowledge, right? That is much important. Even through email, if you delivered, get it back, the acknowledgement letter. Make sure it is received by all the bidders. That is important. Number 2, if the bid closing date is at least minimum of 7 days, if you don't have, extend the bid validity period. I would say 14 days, but if it is, if you cannot extend that, and if the change is not difficult to price, then you extend that by at least 7 days, right? For example, you have specified the elevator in a works contract, and now you want to change the specifications of that elevator, okay? And you give only 7 days to the bidder to price it. Do you think it is sufficient? No, because they'll have to get the price from the elevator suppliers, get it confirmed, and then include in the bid price. So in such a situation, give more time for the bidder to price his bid, because so that you will get a proper bid from the bidder. Otherwise, they will give a price and submit, and subsequently you will face to issues. So give sufficient time for the bidder to submit the bid. Okay. Number 2, what is the change here? 8 millimeter thickness to 12 millimeter. If you don't have time, if you want to close the bids without extending, do you really want to issue an addendum for that? What do you gain by that?
Nothing.
Yeah. Only thing is there will be a variation at the time of execution to change 8 millimeter to 12 millimeter. Right? So what you gain by doing such a change at the last moment is nothing basically. So if you really want to change it, either you extend the bid submission date, and also if you really want to issue an addendum, make sure that it will have an impact on the price, right? Otherwise, don't go for addendums in the last minute. So what has happened here is finally it was under a loan. Finally, that loan component from that amount is deducted from removed from the loan because the TEC wanted to award it to in the way that it is given here. So basically the government wanted to do that. So funding agency didn't fund that portion of the loan for that building construction, right? So it's an actual case. So what is the message that I want to deliver here is when you are issuing addendum, make sure that it is issued properly. Otherwise, you will face to problems subsequently. This is another case. A construction company didn't fill the form of bid but not sign. That is the
It's
answer.
major deviation, madam.
Major
Yeah.
deviation.
Yeah, there is no offer, right? I hope others can understand what we are discussing, right? Authority for signature not provided. I think we discussed the other day about power of attorney. Did I?
Yes.
We discussed, right? So if the signature is properly authorized, then there is no valid offer, right? Another company says the agency to supply cement and deduct from payments due to contractor at 1,000 rupee per bag. 1,000 is not the current rate, right? What is the current rate of cement? Current price of cement bag? Anyone knows?
Nearly 3,000.
It is conditional offer. It cannot be accepted, no? It's major deviation.
Right. Good word you used. Conditional offer. Right? You use the word conditional offer. Not only you, many use this word. What is meant by deviations which we discussed? Omission. Yes, I can't remember. Reservation, omission, deviation. All these are conditional, right? Conditions. The duty of TEC is to see whether that condition is acceptable or not. So having a condition is not the reason for rejection. Did you get my point? It's a conditional bid, yes, but you have to see whether this condition is acceptable or not. If it is acceptable, what are the reasons? If it is not acceptable, what are the why it is not acceptable? Or you may write pros and cons of accepting this or not, right? Now, agency to supply cement and deduct from payments due to contractor at 3,000 rupees per bag. Now, what is the risk? What are the risks to employer here? Say, to make your question easy, we'll say 3,500 per bag. Okay. Now, the price of cement is 3,000. Bidder is ready to give 3,500 per bag. Now, how do you address this change? You just say no, or whether you look at the issue and see whether it to accept or not. So what are the issues that if you accept this, what are the things to be done by the employer?
If there is a price escalation of the cement, then employer will have to face a problem because he gets only 3,500. In case of price escalation.
Right. If yeah. You said the current price is 3,000, right? The bidder is prepared to pay 3,500. So the risk of price escalation is less, but I agree, yes, if there is a price escalation, then it will be a problem. Correct. What else? Agency to supply cement. Can the procuring entity supply cement?
No.
If yes, what are the... Sorry?
Sometimes they...
If they are using market price, madam, there is a transportation cost and everything there. In addition to the original price, transportation cost, management, administration cost. So this kind of thing, it's supposed to be loaded. But if it is not matching, we cannot accept, no?
Yeah. You use the word supposed to be loaded. Those additional expenditure can be computed, right? Those, if there are any additional expenditure, that amount can be computed. So you know the additional cost and you know the price of cement, and then you may calculate what is the additional expenditure to be incurred by the by the employer, right? If that is the case, and if the bidder is ready to pay 3,500 per bag, you may calculate the total number of kilograms of cement requires for the contract, and then additional cost that you have to spend to supply cement. And if it is still the lowest, if it is advantageous to the employer, you may accept this condition, right? But on the other hand, if the procuring entity does not have the capacity to supply cement, the procuring entity may decide to reject the bid. Okay? So, what I want to highlight here is this conditional offer. If the condition is acceptable, you may agree. If it is not, you may reject, right? Fail to initial each bid as required, we discussed. Stipulated that rates for reinforcement steel are based on assumption that the lap lengths will be measured. Can anyone explain to me what is lap lengths in works contracts, reinforcement lap lengths?
When the reinforcement are joined, there should be a specific length as per the structural requirements to make a bond between the reinforcement.
Between the joint.
Yes.
If you have to lay a longer reinforcement, the standard length is not sufficient, then you have to have a overlapping section for such reinforcement, right? So one bidder says that lap lengths should be measured separately, in the sense you have to measure double in that. But usually such lap lengths will not be paid. How do you measure these quantities following which document? Where does it say not to measure twice lap lengths? Where does it written?
In the special notes in the BOQ.
Any other? Where do you work?
Petroleum, madam.
Oh. Any other idea? Loganand. Anyone else working for construction? Miss, what is the bidding document that you use for works?
Madam, according to the cost SBD 1, 2, 3.
Exact documents we are using.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, madam, in preparing BOQs, we use new rules of measurements for the BOQs. All these are mentioned here. These things are mentioned, how to take lap lengths and all these things mentioned NRM, new rules of measurements.
Okay. Do you know about Sri Lanka standards?
SMM 7
SMM,
standard.
SLS, not SMM. SLS, I also can't remember, 373 or something.
Madam,
Okay.
we in Sri Lanka.
Okay, right. Now, it is said, this is for you to, refresh your mind, right? Don't write method of measurements in the BOQ preamble. Because when you read the conditions of contract, there is a clause to say that will be measured according to the standard method of measurements as specified in the bidding data or other contract data. There you have to write what is the applicable method of measurements, right? For building construction, Sri Lanka has a SLS standard method of measurements. Get details from SIDA. It was developed by SIDA and got the SLS standard. But for civil engineering works, there is no standard method of measurement published by Sri Lanka, so you may use the Sesame issued by UK or somewhere. So water board use the Sesame. So when you refer that, so everyone knows how that should be measured, right? So follow a standard method rather than writing in BOQ preamble. Because good old days, it was used to write in the BOQ preamble, but today it is written and it is mentioned in the conditions of contracts as well, right? So now we'll come to the question here. Now, because it is a condition, do you reject the bid? Do you agree to reject the bid?
Yes.
Can't you quantify? Can't you measure?
Then the other bidders will be affected.
How does the other bidders will be affected?
They may have quoted considering not considering the lap length.
Okay. So if you accept this bid, you are paying extra to this bidder against the others, right? Now, can you calculate how much you pay extra to this bidder?
Yes.
You can calculate, right? How do you calculate? From the drawings. From the drawings, you can calculate how many kilograms of reinforcement is needed, will be paid extra if you accept these laplets, right? You can quantify. If you can quantify, you can add that amount to the bid price and see whether this bidder is still the lowest, right? This is again an actual case that TEC did that calculation, of course, some time back. So that TEC did that calculation. What is the additional amount to be paid to the contractor if that bid is accepted, okay? And after adding that, he was still the lowest. Therefore, the contract was awarded to the to that bidder. Of course, the bidder later accepted to, I mean, he removed his condition. He withdrew his condition after awarding the contract, right? And that particular contractor used to write, that contractor was an engineer. He used to write this kind of conditions most of the time. You all are lucky that contractor is no more there, and that firm is also no more there, right? So the TEC did the calculation and awarded the contract. What I wanted to highlight here is, one is you shouldn't reject merely because it's a condition. And the TEC took that challenge and did the calculation, right? They were not lazy to do that calculation. And this is earlier one. I will not tell you the building. This one is CHPB building at Palavatta, Center for Housing Planning and Building. That one. Okay. So you have to be very carefully look at the bids and check whether there are deviations, and if those deviations are acceptable, you may accept and load the bid, right? And I want to highlight here again, sometimes the bidders might say this for excavation. Excavation, how do you pay for building works, building foundations? How do you pay for excavation? If the foundation is, say, 3 meter by 3 meter, how do you pay for excavation? No one?
Volume.
Sorry, go ahead.
Volume,
How do you measure the volume?
length, width, and depth.
Yeah, what is the length that you consider for excavation for a 3 by 3?
Exact
3 by 3 by the height. But in reality, do they dig only 3 by 3 trench? No.
The working
So they will have extra for working arrangements. But then will be paid for only for 3 by 3. So if a bidder says that he needs excavation for additional for working arrangements, will you agree to pay?
No.
No, because if you just say additional, you can't. But if he says for 3 by 3, instead 3 by 3, I need 4 by 4, then will you agree? If it is
We can
clearly say they need additional 1 meter, can you accept that bid?
as per the previous discussion, we can quantify.
Yeah, you can quantify and then add to that bid. And if he is still the lowest, meaning that you even if you pay additional 1 meter, you are it is cheaper for the employer. Still, it is cheaper for the employer, right? So that is therefore you may accept that. Then once you decide the substantially responsive bids, whether it is properly signed with there are no major deviations, then you will determine the lowest evaluated bid, lowest evaluated bid among the substantially responsive bids, right? Lowest evaluated means the evaluated price should reflect the comparison of actual expenditure to the procuring entity, expenditure to be incurred by the procuring entity. So the previous examples, if you agree to that condition, the employer has to pay additional amount. You will add that amount and see whether that bid is still the lowest. If it is still the lowest, then it is cheaper for the employer. It is advantage to the employer. So you will look at who will give the lowest price for the actual expenditure. Okay. And remember, I didn't discuss anything regarding the past experience, then financial capability, etc. during this process, right? What we say here and what is written in the bidding document also, those requirements will be checked subsequently, right? So when evaluating a bid or when you are comparing the price, what are the things to be considered? How do you check the price quoted by the bidder, right? Number one is you exclude VAT, contingency, and provisional sums. I will go through in detail later. Correct the arithmetical errors. Apply applicable discounts. Adjustment to bid prices for omissions and acceptable departures. Conversion to common currency, that is for ICB contracts. Domestic preference. I guess you all learned domestic preference when learning, preparing the bidding documents. Then reassess the ranking order and examine for unbalanced bids. Okay. Exclude VAT, contingencies, and provisional sums. We have written here exclude VAT. In your bid, do you ask bidder to add the VAT and bring that amount to the form of bid? Or what is the price written in the form of bid? Is it with VAT or without VAT? Price written in the form of bid is with VAT or without VAT?
With VAT.
With VAT. Are you sure?
Normally without that.
Yeah. Why with VAT? Why without VAT?
Without that for evaluation and with that for awarding.
Okay. I have a concern of VAT. Who is liable to pay VAT?
PE.
the beneficiary, right? Who is liable to pay other taxes?
Employer.
No.
The contractor should pay other taxes.
What is written in the instructions to bidders? The tax, all taxes payable by the contractor should be included in the price. So when he is pricing his bid, the taxes payable by the contractor should be included in his bid price. So bid price includes the taxes payable by the contractor. This SSCSL also payable by the contractor, right? So all that should be incorporated in the bid price. Whereas the VAT is payable by the
Employer.
beneficiary, employer, by law. So you need not to include that in the contract. But if the contractor is VAT registered under the law of the country, the receiver is liable to pay VAT to that particular contractor. If he is not VAT registered, the beneficiary or the employer is not liable to pay VAT. Okay. So what we usually say, not to include VAT in the contract. But under the law, VAT is payable by the beneficiary, the employer, right? So therefore, even in the BOQ, don't write at the bottom add VAT, whatever the percentage, right? If you really want to total everything and say the amount to be carried to form of bid is the total, then after that you say the VAT is so much, if necessary. Right? Then contingencies. What is contingencies?
Unexpected expenditure.
Unforeseen expenditure. There can be two categories. Physical contingency. I am highlighting this because there are non-technical students here. So for them to understand.
Madam,
clearly.
can we cover the additional works under the contingencies?
Additional works, yeah, I'll come to additional works after explaining this, right? And I want to know what this additional work is. Okay, contingencies in works contracts, right? There is a provision because it has two components. One is price contingency, other one is physical contingency. Physical contingency means there can be unforeseen activities when you are executing a construction work. For example, foundation works, right? When you excavate, you may find a different type of soil. Even if you do soil investigations, you may come across different types of soil. So you may have to vary the work depending on the requirements. Therefore, in conditions of contracts, there is a built-in clause if there are changes to the work within the scope, right? Within the scope, I highlight this, within the scope, to complete the work, if you have to do any extra work, then that is called variation, right? In the contract, it is addressed how to agree on a variation or how to issue a variation order, how to price the variation order. Everything is built in the conditions of contract, because there can be changes, subsequent changes due to the nature of the work, right? Then price contingency is required when the price adjustment is considered for payment subsequent. Did you all learn what is price adjustment? You did bidding document, right? Yes or no? Have you done the bidding document for works? I just want to know that also. Can you please tell me whether you have done the bidding documents or not? No one is there? Can't you hear me?
In this course, no, madam.
You will be doing? Will you be doing?
At workplace, we are doing.
No. What I want to know is, in your curriculum, don't you have bidding documents? Didn't they include bidding document in your program, master's program?
In the workshop, it's done standard bidding document workshop there. It's going on. Sir Ivan Tisera is doing for the workshop standard bidding documents.
Is it done already?
It's going on, madam.
This is what I want to find out. Without doing the bidding document, you cannot do bid evaluation, right? I will tell them. This is absurd. Anyway, right? The price contingency is for price adjustment. Okay. Price adjustment is that the employer will pay if the prices of inputs, the materials, labor, and machinery, if it varies, that price will be corrected as agreed in the contract, conditions of contract, right? It might go up or it might go down. If the prices of inputs goes down, the final price can go down. If it is other way around, it will go up. Then the risk of changing that prices is taken over by the employer, right? And remember, this is not a reimbursement of change of price. It is a compensation of change of price as agreed upfront. Okay. So for that price change and for the physical change, there is a provision of conditions. And one asks a question of additional work. Theoretically, what is meant by additional work? What kind of additional works that you think of, or what you add? Who asked that question?
Something new to the project scope.
Yeah. Theoretically, you cannot add anything new to the project scope. The contractor can refuse. But unfortunately, in Sri Lanka, you add anything and everything under the sun to the same contract. The contract is happening at site far away, and you add the access road to the head office to the same contract. So that kind of addition is also happening, right? So don't do that, because it is very, the one thing is you do a detailed evaluation. You check the capacity of that contractor, whether he can carry out this work. Say the contract is 300 million and you add another 100 million to the same contract. Can he perform? No. You never complete the contract on time and never complete the contract on time. I didn't do that, no? You have to complete the job at right time and right cost. So when you are adding, you can add actually to complete this scope. You can do the changes to complete the scope. But I gave you an example. That is actual case, right? Okay. So the thing is now, the rate applicable to the site is not applicable to the head office, right? How can you add that activity to that particular contract? So that kind of stupid things don't do. Okay. So that is a provision in the contract for future changes. Then provisional sums. If any particular item is not designed or not clearly identified at the beginning, the employer will keep an amount in the contract itself to use subsequently, and the instructions will be given while execution by the engineer. So those three will be excluded when evaluating, right? When evaluating. So VAT, I would say, even at the time of award, not to include, but contingencies, do you have to include or not in the bid price? Do you include contingencies in the bid price or not?
Yes, included.
Included. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes. No one says no, right? There is an discussion going on. Some ministries say not to include. Some say to include. There are advantages and disadvantages of including it, because if you include it, you have a provision, that provision for changes if necessary subsequently in the contract itself. If not included, you may have to keep that amount in somewhere. I don't know where it is. Good old days, there were the government institutions, they used to prepare an estimate. That estimate amount will be kept aside, but that 100% of that will not be included in the contract. But I don't know today there's such procedure is being done. So you have to be careful if you don't keep contingencies in your accounts. I don't know where, right? That you have to keep it in mind. If you don't include in the contract, if it is included in the contract, it is clear that it is there, right? So for evaluation purpose, you will exclude these contingencies and the provisional sums, right? I'll show you an example. I will do it quickly. This particular contract has provisional sum and contingency. And for evaluation, if you give discount finally, right? So subtotal is 53,000 after adding provisional sums and contingency. Discount is 10% will be given to 6,300 and price will become 56,700, right? When you exclude provisional sum, right, the subtotal one will become 55,000 and contingency 5% is 3,000. You deduct both and discount of 10% will be 5,500, then 49,500, then you add contingency, subtotal will become 51,975. So after you add provisional sums, it becomes 56,975, whereas here 56,700 because 10% discount is given to your provisional sum of 5 million also, right? And by giving discount for provisional sum, the bidder is at an advantage of 275,000 and he might win the contract. So therefore, you have to remove provisional sums and contingencies for comparison purposes. Okay. Correction of errors, how it is done is written in the instructions to bidders. Remember, the evaluation method should be written in the instructions to bidders. And when you are evaluating, you have to follow what is written in the instructions to bidders. Okay. How do you correct the errors is written in the instructions to bidders, where there is a discrepancy between the amounts in figures and in words, the amount in words will govern. Right? The rate is 100, rated words is 90, so 90 will govern and this will be corrected as 90, right? You will ask a question. Do you write rate in words in a BOQ? In a BOQ, do you write rates in words? No.
No.
Anyone from Mahavali? I don't know whether they do right now, but I was told those days they used to write in words as well. For building construction, it is very difficult because, building construction, there are 1001 activities, items. But for civil engineering works, you may do so. You can use the landscape document for BOQ. So, if it is written in words, you may consider rate in words as correct. And you will correct the incorrect rate. Then, where there is a discrepancy between unit rate and line item total, resulting from multiplying unit rate by quantity, unit rate as quoted will govern. You consider the unit rate as correct. Okay. So 18.51 by 90 is incorrect. So you correct that and you total it correctly. Right? This is important. You will consider the rate as correct unless there is an obvious gross displacement of decimal point in unit rate. What does that mean? The rate is given as 90. When you multiply 33.8 by 90, it comes to 3042. But if you multiply by 9, it comes to 304.2. Then you consider the rate as 9. Are you clear? This 90, 0 is written incorrect. It can be other way around as well. If it is written as 9 and the amount was 3042, you correct the rate to 90. Okay? Provided that rate is of that range. You can't change it to 12 or say 15. The 9 is of low side. Therefore, we'll change it to 15. No, 90 is too much. 9 is low. The correct rate is 15. So we'll change to 15. Cannot be done. Even if 9 is high, you can't change it to 6. It's only the decimal place will be changed. Are you clear? And of course, the totaling error will be corrected. The subtotals will be corrected. If there is an error in total corresponding to the addition or subtraction of subtotals, the subtotals shall prevail and the total shall be corrected. And what is important here is that I want to highlight, if the bid price changes by the above procedure, the amount stated in the form of bid shall be adjusted. Right? Now the form of bid figure is incorrect. With the concurrence of the bidder, that is what is important. You have to get the concurrence from the bidder. Do you get the concurrence from the bidder before awarding the contract?
Yes.
Do you?
Normally we are doing it for the goods contracts, ma'am.
For works contracts?
I am not.
Usually we don't. But what you have to do is when you sign the contract, get the initial from the bidder for all the arithmetical corrections. Okay. So at the time of signing, you get the bidder's concurrence, bidder's signature on the changes, right? If the bidder does not accept the corrected amount of bid, its bid shall be rejected and bid security will be forfeited, right? If the bidder says no, the bid will be rejected and bid security will be forfeited. Then once the correction is done, of course, while doing it, you have to apply the applicable discounts. How the bidder it's worded. Sometimes bidder will give a gross discount to all the items. Sometimes they will say these items will he will give discount for these items, right? If discounts are offered to limited items, it should be applicable to such items. So you'll have to read carefully and apply the applicable discounts. I will not have time to discuss further in discounts. Adjustment to bid prices for omissions. I explain omissions or deviations actually. I explain the deviations, how do you add. And remember, in works contracts, there is a clause in instructions to say that if any item is not priced, it is deemed to include in the other rates, right? I think I discussed this last time. So therefore, you don't have to be worried so much on those missing items at the time of evaluation unless it is a major item. So this is the clause for that. Conversion to common currency. What does that mean? For ICB contracts, the bidders are usually allowed to quote in foreign currency and local currency. Foreign currency, they can quote in 3 different foreign currency. And remember to write that quote Sri Lanka expenditure in country in Sri Lankan rupees, so that they will have to quote only the foreign in foreign currency the what they bring from other countries, right? So your bid has 4 different currencies, and even the foreign currency can be different from one bidder to another. One may quote US dollars, Singapore dollars, and maybe Indian rupees. And other one may quote US dollars, British pound, and some other currency. theoretically, they'll have to give the currency actually to be spent for them to import material, right? So if they are importing from Singapore, they need Singapore dollars. If they are importing from India, they need Indian rupees, right? Of course, US is a common currency. So this is what you expect from the bidder, but it is not 100% happening in that way. So therefore, there may be prices quoted in different currencies. And for evaluation purpose, you have to bring it to a common currency. So in the bidding document, you have to write what is the currency that you use to evaluate bids. So usually in Sri Lanka, we write Sri Lankan rupees. And then you have to write what is the source that you use to convert this currency, exchange rate from where you get, and the date applicable for that currency. Usually we write 28 days prior to the bid submission, so that at the time of bidding, bidder knows the rate, exchange rate for those currencies. And usually we write Central Bank of Sri Lanka, right? Using the selling rates established for similar transactions by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. All that information are needed and to be written in the bidding document. Otherwise, after opening the bids, you can't do that because it's unfair by the bidders. Evaluation procedures should be stipulated in the bidding document itself. In works contracts, there are two ways of asking for foreign currency. One is in the BOQ, you can have 4 different columns, actually 8 columns, to show 3 foreign currencies and Sri Lankan rupees. So you need rate and amount columns, 4 sets, right? So that for each and every item, bidder will write what is the dollar requirement, what is the rupee requirement, what is the Singapore dollar requirement, what is the Indian rupee requirement, he will write. Then you total that up. The other method is bidder will say he needs a certain percentage of the quoted price in foreign currency. Quoted price will be in LKR, in Sri Lankan rupees. LKR is the standard way of writing Sri Lankan rupees, not SLR. LKR price is in BOQ is priced in rupees, and they will ask a certain percentage in foreign currency. So here we say 10% in US dollars, and they will have another 2 currencies, another certain percentage. In such a situation, how do you convert into a common currency, right? This is an example, and I took only one currency, right? The bidder says he needs 10% in US dollars. 100 million is the bid price, the total price, and asking 10% in US dollars, meaning 90,000. Yeah, 90 million will be 90 million will be paid in LKR rupees and 10 million will be paid in equivalent US dollars, right? 10 million will be paid equivalent US dollars. Now you have to calculate to pay 10 million rupees equivalent in US dollars will cost how much to the employer. And also the bidder will say for conversion, the rate will, his rate will be so much, right? That is again a fixed amount. Right? We change this. I'll change this to original amount. It was 125. I couldn't change the other rates. Okay. Say 125, right? But today, of course, 300, right? So exchange rate on 28 days prior to deadline for submission of bids was 128. But the bidder says he wants to consider exchange rate as 125. So when you are paying, you have to pay 10% of the price in dollars at 125 exchange rate. So equivalent of US dollars 120 at 125 is 10 million divided by 125. Okay. So equivalent rupee at 128 is, this is equal to 80,000. 80,000 into 128. So instead of 10 million, you have to pay 10,240,000. So you correct the bid price, 100 million minus 10,000 plus 10,240, that is 100,240,000. That will compare with the other bidders. If the second bidder's total bid price is LKR 110 million, and if he needs the entire amount in Sri Lanka, not 110 million, 100 million, 100,000, 100 million, 100,000, and if he requests entirely in Sri Lankan rupees, his bid will become the lowest, not 100 million, 240. 100 million, 100,000 is the lowest, then 100 million, 240. So that exercise has to be carried out to convert into a single currency for foreign. The method 2 is, as I said, if you ask them to quote each and every rate in foreign currency and the local currency, then it's merely converting, his bid price will be US dollars so much, Singapore dollars so much, INR, Indian rupees is so much, so that you calculate the equivalent rupee amount for 28 days prior to the bid submission based on the central bank rates, right? So it's a direct transfer. For goods, usually you get in different currencies. So that can be converted into a common LKR by using central bank exchange rate. Okay. Domestic preference, you will cover under bidding documents. What I want to highlight here is when you are applying domestic preference is national contractors will have a preference over foreign bidders in ICB contracts. If it is NCB contract, that because NCB, everyone will bid under the same conditions, right? No preference is given to the international contractors. So they will be paid in LKR. If you want to, you can have your bidding document in national language. So therefore, for NCB, you won't get preference. But for ICB, you will get the preference. And when you are applying the domestic preference, keep it in mind, you will add this percentage to the international bidder, not deducting from the national bidder, because you get two different answers, right? If you add this percentage to international bidders, and if you deduct from domestic bidders, you get two different answers. What you do is you add to the international bidders. So domestic preference is given to improve the domestic industry by the funding agencies for countries having low GDP, gross domestic product, right? Usually it's 7.5%. And Sri Lanka GDP is now, I don't know, now it's more than 4,000, right? So therefore, Sri Lanka is now not eligible to get domestic preference for funded projects. But for usually it's 7.5, and for GOSL contracts, 10% is given. You check this with the new guidelines. I am not sure. I don't think that it is changed, but recheck with the new guideline. This was in the original guideline. I think it is there. I couldn't check that. So, but usually for large value contracts, we don't have projects funded by GOSL. So this will not be, it won't be hardly applicable, right? So it was there mainly to improve the domestic construction industry. Comparison with engineer's estimate in the case of works contract. A bid should not be rejected solely because the bid price exceeds by some percentage margin the engineer's estimate. No, they should be rejected solely on the grounds that they are subsequently lower than such estimates. Are you all in agreement to this? Are you all doing this? Okay. There was a circular to say that if it is less than 30 to reject or blah, blah. But new guideline, it is again excluded, right? It is no more there again. 2006 guideline, it was removed, and the circular came again, and it's a new guideline, it's removed again, right? You can reject a bid if it is really low. That doesn't mean it's lower than the engineer's estimate. If all the bids are lower than the engineer's estimate, and if one bid is less than 30%, then it's not actually low, right? So you have to recheck your engineer's estimate. Rejection of all bids. Bidding documents usually provide that PE may reject all bids. There is a clause to say that employer may reject all bids. That is to safeguard the bidder, right? Safeguard the employer. Employer has the right to accept or reject any bid. There is a clause to say that. But when you do the evaluation, remember not to reject all the bids simply. Your objective is to select the best out of those who submitted bids, right? Because if you re-invite, whether you will gain anything than delay in the process. That is what you have to look at. You may reject all bids. Yeah.
Cold time.
Sorry. Can you please mute the microphone? Okay. Lack of effective competition. If you really see that it is not effectively competitive, that you didn't publish properly or something like that, then you may go for rebidding. No substantially responsive bid received. Not a single bid is acceptable. Inadequate competition, I mean, it's a questionable. You can't say inadequate. Even if you receive one bid, you may have to look at and see whether it is acceptable. All bids prices were unreasonably high. All the prices. And substantially above the PE's budget provision, because if all the bids are substantially high, you may not have enough money to award the contract. Bidding document had issues, or the requirements of the PE has changed. If you don't require that product now, you may go for you may reject all bids. But if you are re-inviting bids, then you have to look at your bidding document, change the bidding document, and re-invite bids, right? If you just use the same document, you will end up with the same result, right? And also, don't reject all bids and re-invite again and again, because then the bidders' bid prices are exposed. Then all the other competitors will know the prices. Then when they are bidding again on the same document, they will try to undercut each other. And especially for goods, don't do that, right? So, but after carrying out this exercise, you will find the bid which is the lowest evaluated, meaning the least price, least expenditure to be incurred by the procuring entity. Then you will check whether that bidder is capable of delivering or executing that particular work. That is called post qualification, right? I will do it quickly. You will check the you will check whether they have past experience, whether they have financial capacity, whether they have equipment, whether they have personnel to carry out the work, right? How to check, what to check should be written in the bidding document. In the bidding document, you have to say the particular bidder should have this much of turnover during average of turnover during last 5 years or whatever, right? So likewise, you have to write very clearly in the bidding document what you are looking for. And once you select the lowest, you will check whether he has the capacity to deliver this or rather execute this work, right? Oh, so didn't I share the screen? Oh, sorry, no one told me. Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Earlier you couldn't see the screen, no?
No, it's visible.
Okay. I'm sorry, I have forgotten to change the screen. Okay. So this is the standard normal procedure that we carry out for evaluation. I will quickly go through. For high value complex projects, right? Now you can see, right? You may use the process rated criteria, meaning you will give marks to methodology and work plan, health and safety, sustainability, waste management, environmental impact, carbon reduction, etc. You will give additional marks in the sense, if they get more marks, you are ready to pay more and get the work done. How it is paid will be explained in the bidding document. Those who have done consultancy contract, it will be somewhat like that. Innovation. If the bidder has different technical solutions, they will be given additional marks. I said high value complex contracts, where the methodology will be different from one contract to another. Work plan will be different. The approach will be different. So that is why I say high value contract. And also for high value contracts, you may pre-qualify the bidders rather than just inviting, so that you will screen first and then issue the bidding document. But remember, those who are qualified will be given the document. It is not shortlisting, it is checking the qualification. Those who are passed will be issued the with the bidding document. It will consume time because we have to do the same procedure as bids are called. You have to invite pre-qualification, you have to evaluate and then issue the document. So it takes time. So it's not suitable for simple contracts. It will limit the competition because you will, they will know how many bidders will participate and they will know each other. So the competition will be limited. Okay. Any questions?
Ma'am, normally in the bidding document we have mentioned that some criteria has to be met by the bidder. So are these the pre-qualifications?
Criteria to be
met by the bidder to submit a bid. That means 80%. That means contractual experience and technical experience we have mentioned in the bidding document. The bidders who have.
Do you check that before issuing the bidding document?
No, normally we are not checking these things, but we have made the persons who have successfully made that complete these things, the bidder has.
Usually, there cannot be conditions to submit a bid. Right?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
To submit the bid, there cannot be any condition other than making a payment and buy the document. Right? I am supposed to cover contractors, but I don't have time to cover.
We are using this for when it is evaluating at the evaluation.
Yeah, right.
No, we are issuing the bidding document. The bidder who has come and paid the non-refundable amount, we are issuing the bidding documents. No issue. But at the evaluation stage, we are considering these things.
Yes. You are considering at what time?
At the evaluation.
Evaluation, post-qualification or as a prior to evaluation?
I want to know, ma'am, is it the pre-qualifications criteria?
No. Pre-qualification means you issue a separate document requesting their past experience and etc., their financial capacity and etc. What is considered for post-qualification basically, and then you check whether they can execute this work. Okay. So after checking that, you will issue the bidding document to those who are qualified. It's two stage basically. You pre-qualify first and then issue the bidding document. Okay. It's not the other one is called post-qualification. What we normally do is post-qualification. The process that I explained, that you evaluate the bid and check the qualification of that bidder after evaluation. So that is called post-qualification. What you do is post-qualification, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Pre-qualification is
separate procedures.
Prior to issue the bidding document, you check their qualifications and you screen them and then issue the bidding document.
The bidding document, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Other one is post-qualification. We don't recommend to check the qualifications of all the bidders upfront. It is meaningless. You do the evaluation and check finally.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, I got it.
Yeah. And don't merely reject a bid. For example, you ask for a certain turnover, average turnover for last 5 years, right? So it may be a little less than what you asked for. I am not telling you to apply NPV and see whether it is okay for today's context. But from your judgment, you know that today rupee value and 5 years before rupee value is less, right?
Yes, yes,
So that judgment you can take.
yes.
And you ask for similar work done in we
The
used
last
to,
2 or 3 years,
yeah,
5 years.
yeah. So then that value is today's
Yeah.
context is different.
Yes.
So that kind of judgment you can take, and you can be comfortable whether he can do the contract or not.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
is why you do the post qualification. Okay. The contractors, few things I want to tell you. The contractors are to do government works. They have got the registration at SIDA, and you can refer SIDA website, and there you get different grades and under different categories. And for works contracts, when you are inviting, you say this grade or above is needed to carry out this particular work, right? So you can refer their website. It's everything is very clearly given. And this pre-qualification, post-qualification, those things also you can get literature from internet and ADB and World Bank websites as well. You may get questions like what are the advantages and disadvantages of this qualification methods and when to go for that, and etc. etc. And also the rated criteria I have explained a little bit. You may go to internet and find information which may be useful for your exam, right? There are no right and wrong answers to this. What is needed is your approach and your explanation. How do you look at this process within the principles, right? That is what is needed. No right answer, no wrong answer, right? So you may browse internet, you get enough literature, and that is how you may have to study these pre-qualification, post-qualification, rated criteria, and etc. etc. Okay. Any other question? Okay then. Shall we stop?
Okay, madam.
Okay.
Good night, madam.
Good night.